up, y'all? This your boy Razkaz, man. Making that long-ass trip all the way from L.A. to be in D.C. Listen Vision Studios. Shouts out to my man DJ Boom. Before it get loud.
Welcome to DC. This is Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio with the one, the only Soul on Ice, Razkaz. Welcome. We have Rossi Caprice, otherwise known as Lonnie Loudpack.
Church.
And of course, would you like to introduce yourself?
Wise P. You already know.
So this is how we do. Washington, D.C. at the entrance to historic Howard University. We have just another one of the greatest MCs on the planet in our building, our facility today. And I think you've heard of him. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock. So what you're about to see is some of the sickest rhymes, drops, freestyles. I mean, call it what you want to call it, but it is what it is. So get ready, and here we go. Listen Vision 3.0.
It's the R-A-S, K-A-S-S, eject the airbag, wreck a nigga Bubba West class. What's coming next? Let's mash. Get so high walking.
Get ready to be inspired by the people, stories, and opportunities in Africa. We're a global community of Africans and friends of Africa with no boundaries. Together, we celebrate the continent's successes and help provide solutions to some of its greatest challenges. Impact Africa airs live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. You can also catch previous episodes on iTunes and on the show's website, impactafricaonline.com. Connect with Impact Africa on Twitter and Facebook at @UImpactAfrica. Together, we'll discover that the real Africa is full of amazing talents and great opportunities. Welcome to Impact Africa. Africa has long been associated with needing aid and handouts. Today, you'll learn so much more about this wonderful continent from enlightening stories, people, and ideas. Now, here is your host, Tope Fajin Basi.
Hi, this is a magazine. The magazine. Memunatu. Promoting literacy, leadership, and empowerment for teenage girls in West Africa. This is us. Twins, co-founders, best friends. Still a natural partnership. As daughters of immigrants from Sierra Leone, we grew up seeing the Civil War from afar. These effects on our relatives, extended community, and on Sierra Leone exacerbated systemic issues. Looking into these issues further, I saw that these challenges span the region. What particularly stood out to me were the problems affecting girls. Low female literacy, early pregnancies, increased dropout rates, and other problems limited girls' ability to succeed. Sure, others have tried to tackle the problem through direct aid or other programs, but none have engaged girls in a way that is relatable, responsive, and tailored for their needs. So we decided to do something about it. Our mission is to create a unique, community-driven publication that provides girls with a range of fun and educational content. Trends and current events ease girls into the publication and the idea of reading regularly. Tips for school provide information for success in writing and public speaking. Finance and entrepreneurship, health and technology, civic engagement, and the arts expand knowledge areas and provide ways for the girls to take action. Suggested reading makes sure that reading and learning extend beyond the magazine. Our focus is on stories. We feature girls who are doing amazing things in their communities, as well as positive female role models to look up to. We've come a long way. Through our hats as students and recent grads, daughters of immigrants, and magazine readers, we've taken Memunatu through the idea stage and are ready to launch. The ask, $30,000 to produce and distribute an issue on Ebola with student stories about their experiences, advice from experts, and tips on how to move forward. Plus, the $30,000 will help us keep the lights running. So, What's in it for funders?
Warm, fuzzy feelings. It feels good.
Because you will have made an impact. Imagine this. One girl gets a year of magazines full of content reinforced in the classroom. Plus, holistic monitoring and evaluation strategy groups and responses over SMS. Plus, projects that link girls to relevant resources that make the magazine come to life. This builds community. We want to amplify this by 25,000 in the first year. So you get gratitude.
Some awesome perks and shoutouts, of course.
And the chance to be part of this amazing community.
So spread the word and help us improve women's outcomes through a surprisingly innovative technology.
Good morning, everyone. Did you like that video? Welcome to Impact Africa. We have a very special guest this morning, and we have several. You see one now, but we have several. Memunatu, the video you just saw, is a classroom magazine for teenage girls in West Africa that promotes literacy, leadership, and empowerment. It was started in 2011 and has since then grown. The magazine has been recognized as an Echoing Green semifinalist, Harvard Business School New Venture Competition semifinalist, Dell Social Innovation Fellow, Wharton VIP Company, and more. They are currently in the middle of their Indiegogo campaign to raise $30,000 for their inaugural issue, set to be released in February of 2015. I would like to welcome to the studio to Impact Africa, Mariama Kabia. On the phone, we have her twin sister, who's Fatmata Kabia, and we also have their campaign manager, Darren. Could you please introduce yourselves and say hello, good morning to the viewers?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
So tell me a little bit about the campaign, the Indiegogo campaign.
Sure. So the Indiegogo campaign is mainly to fund, as you mentioned, our inaugural issue, which is all about Ebola. So our target countries are English-speaking West African countries, primarily Sierra Leone and Liberia. And as many of you know, they're undergoing a huge Ebola crisis right now. So our value to the girls is to provide them with information that they can use, but also unite them at a time that can be very scary. So this issue is all about Ebola, with student stories, advice from experts, and tips on how these girls can move forward.
Okay. So is the campaign already started?
Exactly, yes. Okay. The campaign is live. It's an Indiegogo campaign, and it ends December 8th.
Okay. What is the link for your campaign?
The link for the campaign, it is igg.me@Memunatu Magazine.
Okay, we'll post it. We'll tweet it.
Exactly. Well, if you search for Memunatu Magazine on Indiegogo, it should be right there.
Okay. Yeah. So Darren and Fatmata on the phone. Could you tell us a little bit about your involvement with Indiegogo and what you'd like to see happen?
Okay, so I'm one of the campaign managers for our Indiegogo campaign, and my role is really trying to raise awareness about the campaign. And we had a launch event in Philadelphia that was helping to coordinate that and try to get some students at Penn's campus involved, and also to kind of just spread awareness in social media. So through Facebook, Twitter, letting people know, hey, this is what the campaign is about. Please donate, and help us with this inaugural issue. Perfect. And one of my other roles was also reaching out to networks. So, for example, like the radio show and anywhere that can really help us. We kind of spreading the word and helping us get the funds for our campaign.
Sure, and this is Fatmata, and as co-founder, my role with the Indiegogo campaign is really to enhance engagement with individuals so that when they visit the campaign, they really understand the girl's story and the huge value add of the magazine. As part of the campaign, I also helped with a launch event up in Ithaca, Cornell. So that was another way to help really engage people and connect them to the magazine, because these girls have great stories to share. And it's our job through the campaign to help people see that so that we can in turn provide them with a very useful magazine.
Okay. So tell me about, you're in DC right now, right?
Yes, exactly.
And Darren is in Philly.
Yes.
And your sister is in Ithaca.
Exactly.
How are you guys functioning? I know there's technology, so don't tell me that.
Oh, yes,
but how do you guys function?
No, that's such a good question because, yes, I'm based here in D.C. at an incubator called 1776.
Woohoo!
And,
1776, yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool place. And we have a team of interns that's here and in Boston. So you're right, coordinating between people in different cities is definitely a challenge. But I'd say we've tried to stay as organized as possible. And I think the key is that everyone on board is very passionate about what we're doing. And so that definitely helps overcome any possibilities about being spread out geographically.
And I'm gathering it's also probably a good thing to be separated that way when you're doing a campaign because you get to tap to different markets and different populations and different demographics. Is that so?
Exactly. And exactly. Everyone has different networks as well. So like Darren, for example, her network has some overlap with Fatmata's, but very different people. And that just enriches the campaign.
I see. So yeah, tell me a little bit about what your goal looks like by February 2015 when you do reach the hopefully go over $30,000. What happens then?
Sure. So in terms of reaching our goal, the funds are primarily to help us produce the magazine, promote it, and then distribute it. So the goal is to have Memunatu Magazine in the hands of girls across the region.
Exactly. And it was going to be a monthly, or was it a full year subscription? Was it?
Right. Well, so the magazine comes out quarterly.
I see.
Exactly. And so subscriptions work on a yearly basis. So a girl would receive Memunatu Magazine for the calendar year.
I see. Isn't that so cool? So how are you connecting? I think it's perfect, especially for young girls. And it's not really about fashion. It's not really about the trends that we see. It's more about things that matter to them. And it's about their experience. So for you to have created a platform where women of color or young girls, well, they're not of color. They're in Africa. They see themselves as just women and girls. But it's such a breath of fresh air. What kind of content should we expect from the magazine?
Sure, lots of great stuff. And I'd say there's a difference a little bit between the upcoming issue on Ebola and then the magazine for the rest of the subsequent publications. Fatmata, would you like to talk about content? I know you love that part.
Sure, you're right, I do. Well, typically our content strategy comprises of about 7 different sections. So we have a feature section, which is my favorite part, which highlights a girl who's doing something amazing in her community or a woman in the diaspora who the girls can look up to. And this is particularly helpful in Memunatu because the whole idea is to really empower girls so that they can follow their dreams. So, the girls so far have expressed interest in seeing a fellow classmate highlighted. It's somewhat aspirational, yet very relatable at the same time. But since this is an educational magazine, we do include sections that really help the girls in school, like our suggested reading section, where we take a book that's on the girls' syllabi and highlight it and, come up with useful summaries and define words. So it's really an interactive and helpful teaching tool. And we also have this finance entrepreneurial section so that girls can really, explore different areas and see what they can do in their own communities to help out. And then we have a health section, a self-betterment section, which would include sections such as how to present in front of an audience, how to type, things that are very practical. And then a take action section where they can really sort of take their ideas from the idea stage and really implement them. But I think Mariama can also explain this as well, but we're really excited about our Ebola issue because it takes a slightly different slant where we'll include real teen stories where students will share their experiences dealing with the Ebola epidemic as well as sort of provide tips on how to move forward in our section where we call fact or fiction, where we try and debunk myths and provide hygiene tips. And we'll also include a psychological perspective where an expert will weigh in on how to move forward. But, as usual, we'll have suggested reading and self-betterment because, again, this is the girls' magazine, so it should be as holistic as they are.
Wow. So 2 things. What I love about the content strategy and the content that you have there is that it's relevant to all of us. It's not just relevant to young women. It's also relevant to someone like myself, and I'm a little bit older. But what is the age group that you're targeting?
Sure. So we target secondary school age girls.
Yeah.
So basically anyone between 10 to 17 years old through junior secondary school through senior.
And the content you just mentioned, I mentor young girls in DC, both in undergrad and high school, and I'm telling you, this is the kind of content they will be attracted to. This everything you've mentioned is something that we bring to the table as mentors to young girls here. So what I love too is that you're going back and you talking about issues that matter to them and its current issues. So it's something that kind of makes them feel appreciated. It's not just a magazine that can be packaged and given to anyone. It's actually catered to them. Exactly. That's beautiful. And a second thing, before I forget, I was going to ask, how are you going to, you said West Africa. What countries exactly are you targeting? Is this a magazine that will go all over Africa? Will it be a global magazine, or are you just targeting certain countries in West Africa?
Well, so we've thought very hard about this because our goal is primarily to help girls with empowerment, literacy, and leadership. And so some of the issues that we tackle are definitely relevant across the continent. Yeah. But for us, in order to make sure that the girls who pick up the magazine really identify it or identify with it, we try to limit our scope. So we sent the pilot to Sierra Leone, but our scope is really English-speaking West Africa. So Liberia, the Gambia, eventually Nigeria, Ghana. Okay. So we try to make sure our content is relevant to those areas, and once we get to a certain size, we can reevaluate if we're able to provide value other places.
That's actually smart, and I don't even know why I asked that question, because when you're dealing with Africa, a lot of times a lot of people assume Africa is very similar, but you're right, English-speaking West African countries, and it makes it it makes it so relevant and very specific to that audience. But when you're ready to expand, I would love to see you in Southern Africa and in Kenya mostly. Of course, no big deal. Yeah. So what does the next step look like? How do you engage with the girls themselves? Are there schools you're partnered with? How are you going to be reaching that demographic?
Sure. So I'll speak a little bit about what we've done in the past. So we've done research with focus groups, interviews with teachers and students to see what their needs are.
I see.
Because we are, again, trying to help them in classes, but also get a sense of where they're at and how to best provide value.
That is amazing to hear. A lot of times we create solutions on our own, and then we're bringing forth the population as though it matters to them. If we're not involved in creating, it's impossible to actually be effective. So I like that you actually did that.
Yeah, we love to, because we want to stay as relevant as possible.
Exactly.
And I mean, on our team, we have a variety of people with different expertise and backgrounds. So Fatmata and myself, both of our parents are from Sierra Leone. So we do come with a cultural background, but at the same time, we do recognize that our experience isn't exactly the same as not exactly the same as the girls who we're targeting. And I know Darren comes with her own experiences too, that she brings to the table, and so that helps us also stay relevant. So when we're communicating with schools and teachers, we're enriching the experience and making sure we're as authentic as possible.
And so when you talk about schools, how do you even get started connecting with schools in Africa? Because a lot of people here in the U.S. do want to help, and they do want to get connected to a cause, sometimes in Africa or wherever in the world. How do you start? How did you guys start that? That communication.
Yes. So true. I think.
And the trust.
Right.
The buy-in from the community. Yeah.
That's so true. I think, first of all, it was just showing that we were genuine and that we were really committed to this project. And so on the back end, I interned at an embassy just to learn more about what's going on.
Which embassy?
Sierra Leone.
Oh.
Here. And so that helped me learn more. So I didn't just come in with my preconceived notions.
Exactly.
But then what was important was early on, Fatmata and I went to travel and talk to students, talk to schools, and just tell them about the concept, but basically where we were going, what their needs were. And so from there, once we got into the initial schools, it became much easier to then show, like, this is our trajectory and this is how we're trying to help.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm going to wrap up. I know Darren has to go, but Fatmata, please stay on the line, and
Sure.
Yeah, and we'll call you back. I mean, we'll get back from the break and talk some more. I'd like to say I'm so grateful that you guys are doing this. This is something that our daughters needed here in the diaspora. This is something that daughters need back home. And this is something, like I said, it's relevant to a lot of us who are grown up and much older. We still do need those tenets, those anecdotes, those things that kind of push us forward. And even just the regular skills, like you said, public speaking, leadership, and body language, all these little things are so important. And I'm so grateful that you guys have this platform to do so. And I wish you so much success. When we get back, We'll talk some
you.
more. We'll discuss your backgrounds, how you guys started. I'm curious about that just because to see you guys here is one thing, but to know where you came from is another. So I look forward to that. And we'll be right back.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Not a problem.
Alelele mama, amalala lelele. Oh, shake it for Africa, yeah, do it for Africa. Mama lelele, oh lelele mama, oh shake it for Africa. Oh, you rise up and stand up for Africa.
See the whole world be looking at us, yeah, 'cause our land is honey, all the future money, and see akijima, no asilali. Siatandi Mali, they want it, yo, they need it, man, we have it, yes. Let the world come and taste this beautiful land, they want it, oh, they need it, yeah, we have it, let the world come and taste this beautiful land now.
Sisters and your brothers and your friends, let's get together, let's hold hands and let us dance. Let's unite and give ourselves another chance. I see the walk out for road, you go see many things, everything they happen, people they jolly. Oh yeah, now let Africa be good. And in the sun or the rain or the street and the things, we get together because let Africa be good. Oh, Nelson Mandela, Lupita Nyong'o, Desmond Tutu, oh Barack Obama, Kwame Nkrumah, all my freedom fighters.
You know what time it is? Let's go, come on. Africa stand up, everybody move, make a see your hands up. We came a long way, so now we can't stop. Free for life, we're taking off the handcuffs. We came to spread love through the sea breeze. Natural, Mama Africa, we need peace. Home sweet home, everybody for feel free. Check my people and check the beauty. Be my duty. We're trying to make it a better place for us, and I believe it's gonna happen in God we trust. Straight from the bottom all the way up to top. I prophesy it shall come to pass. Amen. From dust to grass, from grass to grace, but it's left to us to make it happen on a daily basis. Back to back, Africa stand for peace. Let's face the fact.
Asante nyerere baba, tunajivunia upendo wetu na amani, tena pia Mugabe bendera baba, tunajivunia upendo wetu na amani, tumejali mengi, kotero mengi, majengo melema mbuga Afrika yetu, tazama mengi, kotero mengi, mito melema mbuga Afrika yetu.
You are listening to Impact Africa. You are listening to Impact Africa. You are listening to Impact Africa. To connect with the program, please call 1-443-499-2755. That's 1-443-499-2755. You may also send an email to info@impactafricaonline.com or tweet @UImpactAfrica. Now, back to our show.
Good morning, everyone. We're back. Someone here told me I didn't introduce myself. I don't need to be corrected in public, but I'll just introduce myself a little bit. My name is Vienna Mbagaya. I am a friend of Tope Fajingbesi, the host of this lovely show. And I'm happy to cover for her and be a guest host here and there. Because I've done it before, I always think I don't have to introduce myself, but I do. I'm an epidemiologist. I do research mainly among immigrants and refugees in the U.S., and I also work as a public speaker, and I also write for the InvisibleNeighbors.com, where we celebrate the achievements of immigrants and first-generation Americans. And you can tell I'm a little biased about, about your project because I do the same thing. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit more about, introduce everyone and talk about their backgrounds and where they come from. And first, I want to talk to Darren. You are one of the campaign managers for Memunatu Magazine Indiegogo campaign.
Right.
Darren graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. That's where you all met then. Yeah. With a BA.
Yes.
With a BA. They came rolling deep from UPenn. With a BA in sociology, health medicine, and African studies, as well as a minor in biology. Wow, overachiever. At UPenn, Darren was the president of Penn African Studies Association, treasurer of the African American Arts Alliance, and a dancer for the esteemed African Rhythms Drum and Dance Troupe. She currently works as a clinical research coordinator. What? Let's work together. At Penn Medicine, and in her evenings, a high school cross-country coach. In her spare time, she manages Curve Balls and Med School, a blog she created that strives to inspire and motivate students, primarily of color, on the medical path. Darren is extremely passionate about African development and very excited for the impact Memunatu will have in West Africa. So Darren, I know I've read, like your resume and everything, but tell us a little bit about how you guys met and the role that you play. I know you've said a little bit about the campaign, but I want to hear more about how people can help and how listeners can be part of this movement.
Okay, so we met at Penn, as I mentioned, and we actually, first I met Fatmata because we were on the same board for PASA, which is Penn African Student Association. And I got to know her sister as well, and I heard about their magazine. So I knew about their magazines from undergrad. Fast forward later, they reached out to me a couple of months ago about joining the team for the Indiegogo campaign. And from undergrad, I was already very, very interested in what they were doing. It seemed like a great initiative, and I could see it, expanding and having a great impact in West Africa. As a young child growing up, I definitely read magazines, I was big on reading, and I could see that, this magazine could be very valuable. It could have an impact on, students from that age range, teenagers. So when I was reached out to earlier in the summer, I was like, yes, I'm definitely down for this. I can see it having a great impact. It's something that I wish I had growing up, something related to, Africa, or something that I could relate to as a young African student. So I was all about it from the very beginning.
Perfect. I'm so glad you guys actually met somewhere where you have something in common. It's not something that you just joined up now. So you know each other, you know how you work. And I can see now how the geographic distance probably doesn't matter because you guys have a history. That's beautiful. That's great to know. And I wanted to talk a little bit about and with Fatmata. Not just talk about you, but talk with you.
Great.
I'm going to read your impressive resume as well. I just love showing off. I love this. So Fatmata Kabia. Fatmata is a 2015 JD candidate at Cornell in Ithaca. That's where she is now, Cornell Law School, where she's specializing in international legal affairs. Before Cornell Law, Fatmata graduated magna cum laude, wow, with distinction in international relations from the University of Pennsylvania. At Penn, Fatmata and her twin sister, Mariama, co-founded Memunatu, a classroom magazine for teenage girls between age 10 to 17 in West Africa that promotes literacy, leadership, and empowerment, as we saw before. At Cornell Law, Fatmata is executive vice chancellor of the Moot Court Board and an articles editor at of the Cornell International Law Journal. So Fatmata, tell us, I know I was going to ask you how you guys met, you and your sister, but I think you guys never met. It just happened. How did you, I was going to say the idea for the magazine, did it just come out of you guys talking about it for a long time? Or was it just one person's idea and you both jumped in? How did it evolve to what it is now?
It's interesting because while growing up, we've both been exposed to stories about Sierra Leone. A lot of our family is still over there. And a lot of the talk, particularly in the late 90s, revolved around the Civil War. And when we looked into the issues further through our studies, because we actually both studied international relations, we realized that there's actually a discrepancy in education, particularly in literacy. So I'm not sure exactly who came up with it, but I think it was the culmination of a lot of different discussions because we identified the issue fairly early. The idea was really just how to do something about it.
Yeah.
It was an issue we're passionate about, but how do you take that idea to action?
Exactly.
So we actually just ended up thinking back to our own childhood, what got us interested in reading and learning about different topics. And several magazines like Scholastic News, which is more of an educational magazine, and then Teen Vogue and Girls Black came to mind. And we realized these are pretty easy mediums to read, especially if perhaps you're not accustomed to reading a lot. And they also provided a sense of community. You're really dedicated to the magazines that you read, and we thought, this could be a great idea. Let's try and make this work. And that's sort of where we started.
Yeah. When you were saying you don't know who came up with the idea, Mariama was saying I did. But I don't want to start anything.
Really?
No, I don't. Sure. I'm kidding. She didn't. She did. She wrote it down. She wrote it down for me.
Exactly.
And Mariama, I'm going to read your bio. And feel free to just wave because it's amazing. All of you are just brilliant. Mariama is a 2014 Master in Public Policy graduate of Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Before the Kennedy School, Mariama earned a BA in International Relations with honors at, guess what, at UPenn. While at Penn, she and her twin sister Fatmata founded Memunatu, a classroom magazine for teenage girls. I got to tell you something. Just in meeting you guys and talking about all this, I have a young daughter. And when you talk about, think back to your childhood and how you guys started and what inspired you to learn and want to be learners. It's so inspiring because I wish my daughter was here to see this. And, it's good to know that whatever I'm doing as a mother to a young girl, whatever influences I share with her, whatever I expose her to, will hopefully one day, potentially, influence her to do something great. So tell us, how about your parents? What is the relationship like knowing that you guys were born in the U.S., right?
Yes.
And now you're doing work back home. What is that like? What is their involvement? What is their attitude towards it?
Well, I think they're very proud. And in terms of their involvement, well, first I'll say from a young age, they were really good at exposing us to Sierra Leonean culture, saying, you're Americans, but you're also Sierra Leoneans. So, of course, speak the language at home. We'd hear that, though not necessarily fluent. But it was great just being around the culture, hearing stories, and just knowing that place, too, is part of us. Yeah. And so I'd say that was definitely a big influence. Yeah. In terms of the magazine, it's actually named after our mom, Memunatu.
Oh, wow. That is so beautiful.
She inspired us when we were kids and continues to inspire us. Yeah. And we just love her story and her drive because she grew up in Sierra Leone, did really well in school, loved to read, and then was able to become an environmental health specialist, which isn't normally like the trajectory you hear about.
Yeah.
But she just inspired us a lot, and we love the idea of Memunatu being like the big sister or kind of role model for a lot of different girls, regardless of what they want to do, but to help them go to the next step in whatever pursuit that is. So not everyone's going to be an environmental health specialist. People have different dreams, but we'd love to help girls find their dream and then take steps towards reaching it.
Wow, that is beautiful. And so I'm just saying this because I'm imagining my daughter's going to write this book. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be named after me. So I'm hoping that's the same thing, but it's not about me here today. This focus. So I also have to ask, now, how did you guys end up both studying law or studying, you guys are in the same fields almost. How did that end up happening? Was it just, is it influence? It's just what you see around you becomes you, or is it, how did you do that? Because I know it's not on purpose, is it?
No, not on purpose.
You're going to study this, I'm going to study. Did you guys get into the same schools, or did you apply to the same schools?
We did apply to the same schools.
Because you wanted to go away together.
Undergrad, yes.
You know, wow. My brother and sister are twins, and I don't know. They have always been separate. They've done everything separately. So it's good to see that you guys on purpose wanted to do things together.
Well, we're very much a tag team, so I think that's why we applied to the same places. I'd say in terms of what we studied, that happened just, I think, organically.
Okay.
But I think you're right. Part of it probably has to do with influence, just being in an international community, especially around the D.C. area. You do hear a lot about politics or international relations. And then also, I think our parents were very good at making sure that we were always up to date on what's going on in the world. So that definitely influenced her. But she's the lawyer, and then I'm the public service person.
So Fatmata, does that make you like, are you older, Fatmata?
I am.
By how many minutes?
I am. I think about 10 minutes.
So wise. Impart your wisdom.
That's sizable. About.
And so you're in school right now until, when do you graduate?
I graduate this May.
This May. So by the time you launch the first quarter, I guess, would you be able to travel back home? What is the process like? Are you guys going to be traveling and going there, or are you going to be working from here the whole time?
Well, it's a little, I'd say, up in the air, or at least touch and go because of the Ebola situation.
That's so true.
So that's definitely limited our travel. So we've depended more on volunteers. But our vision for Memunatu is for us to have a presence in Sierra Leone and the rest of West Africa, as well as having some presence here in the U.S. because there's a lot of sharing that could go on, especially in terms of our writers, topics we cover, etc.
I see. But you do have a connection to Sierra Leone. Like you have gone back.
Oh yes, definitely.
See, okay, that's what you were saying before about the focus groups and everything else.
Exactly.
So there is that connection.
Right.
I wish you guys were here yesterday at the World Bank. Were you there yesterday at the World Bank?
No, I wasn't.
So there was an African diaspora demo day, and all these different entrepreneurs who are working either in Africa or working from here in the diaspora for projects in Africa were there to present to different investors. It was amazing. And you get to meet people who are back home. They're transplanted. They moved from here to go back home. And they're running their businesses from there. And then you have people like yourself who do both. You're in the diaspora space in the U.S., but you also get to travel back home and do your work that way. And there's also people who just work from here. And they say, there's the school of thought that, well, if I wanted to do everything back home, would it be as easy as it is to do it here in the U.S.? Maybe I have more influence, so I have a better approach, not a better approach, but a faster approach to getting some stuff done from the U.S. And I can still do my, play my part through technology and everything else. You can still be impactful. So what is the long-term goal you guys have? I want to hear from you, Fatmata. What is the long-term goals you guys have? Let's say 1 year goal, and then we're going to talk about the 3 or 5 year goal. I hate those, by the way. I hate people doing that, like 5 year goals. Who cares? But I think it's, because for something like this, it does need a timeline. But when it comes to like life in general, like who needs a 5 year goal? Like day by day, Anyway, so tell us about what do you see Memunatu in about a year?
Sure. For us, that's really interesting because Memunatu in general has short-term and long-term goals. The long-term goal would be female empowerment and leadership, where we can see girls really progressing in the classroom and really making an impact, so able to get, that degree that they want or that job that they want. But in a year, I really see Memunatu in the hands of girls in the classroom across at least our first target countries. So that's Sierra Leone, Liberia, and potentially Ghana and Nigeria. I really see it being used in the classroom as a tool because it comes with a 30-minute lesson plan. So in a year, we see it being really integrated into the schools so that girls are not only comfortable with it, but they come to sort of expect it and they're used to it and it's part of their daily lives. So in a year, that's where I see Memunatu.
Nice. So tell us about the long-term goals.
The long term. Well, I'd say we definitely see ourselves reaching scale in terms of the number of girls we reach. So at first, we're staying quite local so we can prove the concept and make sure it's a well-oiled machine before rolling it out.
Like a pilot.
Exactly.
Sort of, yeah.
Well, so we launched a pilot actually to a couple schools in Sierra Leone. So this is the big launch after we've done some like revamping.
Okay.
But we see it being, again, more regional, so expanding our base in those first couple countries. But also in terms of content and contributors, we definitely see it growing a lot.
I see.
So right now we are using writers, some in the U.S. who are in the diaspora, some experts, and then we're getting feedback from girls on the ground themselves. But we hope to expand the network in 5 years so that we have writers across the region who are normal contributors and regular contributors.
Exactly, yeah.
And then we have different things in place to make sure we're keeping track of our progress, because a lot of things that we see sometimes, difficulties, is monitoring and evaluating impact for what we hope to have.
True. Yeah.
So we assume, or what we're hoping is that in 5 years we're able to look back and see how we've progressed as an organization, but also how the girls who've read the publication have progressed. Even if it's they read more than girls who don't get the magazine, or they tend to pursue more leadership positions than those who don't. We hope to at least be able to demonstrate that.
Wow. And you guys are in good hands, especially being in D.C. You being in D.C. Ithaca, I'm sure Ithaca is awesome too. But there's a huge diaspora community in D.C. and a lot of women in the diaspora who are leaders in their own rights, women who are either involved or want to be involved in African affairs and development. And do you know about DAWN, the Diaspora African Women's Network?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So being in D.C., you'll have a plethora of inspiration when it comes to wanting contributors or thinking about topics. And these are women who are, yes, in the U.S., but they also have a tie and to back home. And it's so important to kind of bridge that gap.
Oh, definitely.
So that even though you said like you had a different childhood growing up in the U.S., both of you had a different childhood compared to the women that, or the young girls that you're reaching out to. It's still so awesome, and I'm so proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me about 1776. 1776. What is that? What was that process like, and what do you hope will turn out from that partnership?
Sure. Well, so 1776 is the incubator where we currently work. So we've been in different incubator spaces before.
Okay.
So when we first started out, we were part of the Wharton Venture Initiation Program. Then most recently at Harvard, there's the Harvard Innovation Lab. And both were really great in helping us develop the business plan, financials, see what kind of social impact we hope to gain and how to actually achieve that. So here at 1776, this is the perfect launching pad for us because it's here in DC. We're exposed to a variety of mentors who are in the education space or more internationally focused. And so it's been a really good place to launch. And actually this spring, I'll be representing Memunatu at the Halcyon Incubator, which is a new incubator also in DC for social ventures. So all of these places definitely have offered and will offer mentorship, guidance in making sure we're having the most impact as possible. And again, DC is a great place for all of this to come together.
Of course. And Fatmata, when you graduate, are you moving here to DC?
I'll actually be moving to New York City, which is kind of an interesting dynamic for Memunatu, because I feel like as time goes on, the network just keeps growing. So it'll be exciting to see, who else we're able to bring onto the team and sort of expose to the magazine. So it's exciting.
Oh, so that's a no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But
sorry.
No, I'm kidding. But
I love DC.
Right, but you guys grew
our
up
family's
here.
actually from there.
Exactly,
so
we grew up from around here. And I think New York is great too. So at least you can get the publishing end and there's the UN. And so very complementary cities. And I think great things for Memunatu.
It's going to be, this is I'm telling you guys. I'm calling it. I know you guys are already big. You guys, I've read your profiles and I've seen the magazine online. This is a digital space, or is it also going to be a paper like published?
Actually, mostly in print because the girls who we're targeting, like internet access and usage is very low, and so we want to make sure that wealth, socioeconomic status isn't a factor in
That's
which
true.
girls get it or not. So we do print, but we also have online content through our website, just memunatumagazine.com, so that people in more web-enabled markets can go look at our content, still get value from Memunatu.
Okay, so repeat the link again.
Oh, sure. So it's memunatumagazine.com.
And where can we follow you on Twitter, on social media, everywhere else?
We are everywhere.
Okay.
So on Twitter, everywhere. So on Twitter, we're Memunatu Mag. We have a Facebook page. Again, you can just search Memunatu Magazine. And actually, if you visit our Indiegogo page, there are links to all of these places. I think we're also on Instagram.
Yeah, good. What is your IG handle?
That's
That's what the young kids are saying. Yeah.
Our IG handle, I believe Memunatu_magazine. So we've kept it very simple, straightforward.
Yeah. And Memunatu is MEMUNATA.
NATU.
Memunatu. I'm sorry. Yes. MU. I'm sorry. You spell it.
That's okay. MEMUNATU.
Yes. I look forward to seeing how this is going to evolve. I'm so excited. Any support we can help with, anything else we can do, please let us know.
Of course.
And again, you can follow them on Twitter. If you're on Twitter right now, we're actually...
tweet us.
Yeah, exactly.
Visit our Indiegogo page. Again, we're in the middle of this fundraising campaign.
Exactly. And the deadline?
December 8th. So anything helps. And we really want to help impact these girls in West Africa. So we're excited.
Thank you so much, Fatmata.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in and staying on the line. Thank you for your contribution. And this is so much appreciated, Mariama. Thank you for coming in. And
thanks so much.
And for creating
Thanks
a
for having
space.
us.
Oh, yeah, creating a space and a platform for young girls to not just express themselves, but be appreciated from a global community. So I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
This is where I live. I live in Kenya, at the south parts of the Nairobi National Park. Those are my dad's cows at the back, and behind the cows, that's the Nairobi National Park. Nairobi National Park is not fenced in the south where I live, which means wild animals like zebras migrate out of the park freely. So predators like lions follow them, and this is what they do. They kill our livestock. This is one of the cows which was killed at night, and I just woke up in the morning and I found it dead, and I felt so bad because it was the only bull we had. My community, the Maasai, we believe that we came from heaven with all our animals and all the land for herding them, and that's why we value them so much. So I grew up hating lions so much. The Morans are the warriors who protect our community and the livestock, and they were so upset about this problem. So they killed the lions. It's one of the 6 lions which were killed in Nairobi. And I think this is why the Nairobi National Park lions are few. So a boy from 6 to 9 years old in my community is responsible for his dad's cows. And that's the same thing which happened to me. So I had to find a way of solving this problem. And the first idea I got was to use fire, because I thought lions were scared of fire. But I came to realize that that didn't really help, because it was even helping the lions to see through the caution. So I didn't give up. I continued. And the second idea I got was to use a scarecrow. I was trying to trick the lions that I was standing near the cowshed. But lions are very clever. They will come the first day and they see the scarecrow and they go back. But the second day, they'll come and they say, this thing is not moving here, it's always here. So it jumps in and kills the animals. So one night I was walking around the cowshed with a torch, and that day the lions didn't come. And I discovered that lions were afraid of a moving light. So I had an idea. Since I was a small boy, I used to work in my room for the whole day. And I even took apart my mom's new radio. And that day, she almost killed me, but I learned a lot about electronics. So I got an old car battery, an indicator box. It's a small device found in the motorcycle, and it helps motorists when they want to turn right or left. It blinks. And I got a switch where I can switch on the lights on and off. And that's a small torch from a broken flashlight. So I set up everything. As you can see, the solar panel charges the battery, and the battery supplies the power to the small indicator box. I call it a transformer. And the indicator box makes the lights to flash. And as you can see, the bulbs face outside because that's where the lions come from. And that's how it looks to lions when they come at night. The lights flash and trick lions that I was walking around the cowshed, but I was sleeping in my bed. Thanks. So I set it up in my home 2 years ago, and since then we have never experienced any problem with the lions. And my neighboring homes heard about this idea. One of them was this grandmother. She had a lot of animals being killed by lions. And she asked me if I can put the lights for her, and I said yes. So I put the lights. You can see at the back, those are the lion lights. Since now, I've set up 7 bombers around my community, and they're really working. And my idea is also being used now in all over Kenya for scaring other predators like hyenas, leopards, and also it's also being used to scare elephants away from people's farms. Because of this invention, I was lucky to get a scholarship in one of the best schools in Kenya, Brookhouse International School, and I'm really excited about this. My new school now is coming in and helping by fundraising and creating an awareness. I even took back my friends to my community, and we're installing the lights to the homes which don't have, and I'm teaching them how to put them. So 1 year ago, I was just a boy in the savannah grassland, herding my father's cows. And I used to see planes flying over, and I told myself that one day I'll be there inside. So, and here I am today. I got a chance to come by plane for my first time for TED. So my big dream is to become an aircraft engineer and pilot when I grow up. I used to hate lions, but now because my invention is saving my father's cows and the lions, we're able to stay with the lions without any conflict. Actually, it means in my language. Thank you very much.
You have no idea how exciting it is to hear a story like yours. So, you got this scholarship.
Yep.
You're working on other electrical inventions. What's
Yeah.
the next one on your list?
My next invention is I want to make an electric fence.
Electric fence.
But I know electric fences are already invented, but I want to make mine.
Didn't you already tried it once, right? And
I've tried it before, but I stopped because it gave me a shock.
In the trenches. Richard Tereri, you are something else. We're going to cheer you on every step of the way, my friend. Thank you so much.
Welcome back, everyone. Happy Sunday. I want to thank my guests today. I want to thank everyone, but mostly you, because you're here in person. We can thank them. We can text them later.
We'll let them know.
We'll let them know we appreciate their time calling in and talking to us about Memunatu Magazine. Could you please let everyone know about your website, where they can follow you, the Indiegogo campaign, everything they need to know before we go.
Excellent. So yes, please visit our Indiegogo site. I believe it's on the screen. Yes. But if you go to Indiegogo, just search Memunatu Magazine and we should be right there. Also, our website is memunatumagazine.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that.
And I would like to say thank you to Tope for inviting me to guest host her lovely show, Impact Africa. And I wish her all the best. I cannot wait to see you when you get back. And so you can get back on your show and run things the right way. I was just playing around because I have fun with this. I would like to also thank everyone the team who's here right now. You don't see them, they're backstage, but I would like to thank them for a last minute, everything basically worked out as we went. And I'm so appreciative of the team that Tope works with. You saw that. I'm also, I will not be able to wrap this up without saying, please follow me at Vienna Nairobi on Twitter, and also theinvisibleneighbors.com, where we tell stories of immigrants and first-generation Americans. Other than that, have a great week. I hope to see you guys again on Sunday. One of these days, maybe Topo will invite me back. We'll see about that. Take care.
Bye.
Get ready to be inspired by the people, stories, and opportunities in Africa. We're a global community of Africans and friends of Africa with no boundaries. Together, we celebrate the continent's successes and help provide solutions to some of its greatest challenges. Impact Africa airs live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. GMT at listenvisionlive.com. You can also catch previous episodes on iTunes and on the show's website, impactafricaonline.com. Connect with Impact Africa on Twitter and Facebook at @UImpactAfrica. Together, we'll discover that the real Africa is full of amazing talents and great opportunities.
In the heart of Washington, D.C., across from the campus of historic Howard University, this is